Welcome everyone. This is Divine Dialogues, Intuitives Unveiled. I am Tracey Bango from Angels on the Prairie.
And I'm Rhonda Sean with Divine Guidance with Rhonda. And we're members of the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center. In our podcast, we're going to be delving into topics such as intuition, angelic connections, and the spiritual realm.
We're also going to talk about our own personal experiences to help you understand your own intuitive abilities. Thanks for joining us.
And let's begin.
Hi everyone, we are going to talk about spirit or human that have passed to the other side, so the afterlife. There's so many wording for spirit. So we decided that it's a good time to talk about spirit before Halloween.
Yes. Yep.
So, it's something that you either believe in it or you don't. And for a lot of people, it brings fear. And a lot of people, human, put fear into it. And lots of TV shows put fear into it. So our belief system is it's a loved one that has passed to the other side. And, there's somebody that we can talk with. And if they're lost in somewhere in between here and the next level, wherever they are to go, whatever your belief system is, if it's heaven or whatever, then that's something that we believe that we can help them out with and get them where they need to go.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, myself, is with my first experience with spirit really was with my grandfather who passed away. And in the physical, I didn't know my grandpa. He died when my dad was 16 years of age. And, so this is the other thing. A lot of people think sometimes with spirits is you have to know them physically in the physical world, but you don't have a connection in the spiritual world. And many times you do. And so I was about 2 or 3 years old. I was looking through pictures and I said, oh, he tucks me in at night. And my parents look at each other and going, no, he's not here. But I said, I was that adamant that I did. And he'll come in at various times for me, to say, I'm here. Let's do this. I'm gonna kind of go through here. And he'll take credit to say he's taking credit for my gifts in a way.
Of course he is.
Yeah. He lets me know that it was him that kind of started it all. So I felt like a very close connection to him, even though I didn't know him in the physical world. So you can still see, hear, feel.
And everybody has their own way of doing it. And I'm gonna, I'll tell you for myself, I see them in my third eye, and when spirit comes, they show me what they look like. They don't always tell me names. It's rare that I hear the name. And if, there's a special reason, then I will hear a name, but usually it's not, it's something that stops from happening. But yeah, they start showing me pictures of themselves, like flashes of what they look like. First, they'll show me what their hair looks like. And then maybe they'll show me what they're wearing. And then maybe they'll show me what's on their feet. And then I'll start hearing words, and it's not like we're having a full conversation right now. It's different. It's like just flashes of things, so it's, if you expect to have a full conversation, like with me, I do not. I am unable to. It's just the way I work, apparently. But it's just a different way of communication for me. It seems to get the point across because I could even say a color, or I'll say the ocean, or I'll say forest, or I'll say green, or and then I'll say short hair. And she reminds me of she's got like a granny dress on, and then people look at me and start laughing because it's the truth.
Yeah.
Like I'll explain what I believe it is, and then they'll say, oh, that's what it is, so it's a little bit of trusting yourself of what you receive. Here, no, or I'm smelling smoke right now. Why am I smelling smoke? And it's a pipe tobacco. It's not cigarette, it's pipe. And they'll go, well, yeah, that's my grandfather.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of you got to trust yourself.
Yeah, here's the thing too. So one of the wildest readings that I have done was, I don't want to necessarily say my first, but I would kind of pre-emphasize that this was kind of my first paid reading as a professional. And I was working with a client, and this person came through or whatever, and I'm going, I see this, I see this, I see this. And she's like, no, I just don't know anybody who's passed or whatever. And I said, well, I trust what I get, but it's not resonating with you. So I said, we'll just park it, and I'll ask the person to move on to go later on. So a year later, over a year later, she's starting to open up her calling in third eye, and she was practicing on her boyfriend, or well, it's her partner boyfriend now. Well, and she was doing Reiki on him. Well, here this guy popped in while she was doing the Reiki session. Well, it was his best friend that passed away. So so he came in to say, "Hey, I'm here," but he was guiding her to meet her future partner. So this is where, like, I could have totally self-doubted the messages that are getting or going whatever, but because a lot of times with spirits, there is no place time continuum that we kind of know in the physical world. So he just came in kind of a year too soon, but he was working with her to get to him.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But that's right. And that's exactly right. It's so easy to doubt ourselves. It is because the person will be right in front of you going, no, it doesn't make sense to me. Don't know them. But a lot of times, a few days, a week, a month later, I get a call saying, oh, I understand that. My mom knows who they are, or my dad, or my sister, or whatever. Like somebody understands.
Yeah. Well, I've even had that in an actual reading sometimes, and I'm going, like, it, and I'm like just pounding, going like, is it Ashton? Is it this? And it's like, no, no, no. And she goes, well, I have a cousin named Ashton. Like, oh, is he alive or is he dead? And you're like, no, he's alive, but the person that you're contacting or connecting with, that's Ashton's grandpa, or that's like,
And that's how it works. They
yeah,
don't come in for who you can say, okay, I want to talk to my mom or my sister or my dad or grandparent, and we can ask. Doesn't mean they're going to come in.
yeah,
And that's no reflection view or of us. It's just spirit, and we just trust.
yeah. One thing that like I said, I say this and I say this a lot, though, is a lot of times around mediumship, especially if you're looking for closure or kind of like maybe some answers, you really only need, you could do it yourself, but if you feel like you need somebody, again, it's kind of more validating for yourself in some ways to some people, is you only need to go see a medium once, especially if you're looking for closure and you get it, because
Oh,
they
yes.
they will very often give you signs and symbols, you know, your grandfather leaves you dimes, or you might see ladybugs, or so they're kind of communicating with how they're communicating with you, and then you really can do the rest on your own. And like, in my opinion, especially if you're going for like certain people and you get them, is once it's kind of like a one and done in a lot of ways. It's not that they won't come in, but chances are it's more going to be what I call like a flyby or a pop in. Hi, I'm here.
I'm good.
I'm good. I'm with you if you're kind of going through a little bit of turmoil, but but a lot of times is, and I said especially if you're looking for closure or some form of healing, that you don't really need to waste your money and keep going to seeing them over and over, because I've had clients that do that and they get so disappointed in their readings
Because they want to
because
expect,
yeah,
and you can't expect.
yeah. So should we talk about some common signs that spirit like to give you, or did you have any more to add around?
Well, a lot, just so you know, like something like sometimes when I do readings, I find I end up it becomes a teaching session.
Exactly.
Like they show the client ways how they get touch base with them, how they for them to know that they're with them. Like I really find they end up in teaching sessions. And like Rhonda says, one and you're done. I had a once when I was starting, like went public, I had a girl that she came like 3 times, and I'm going, well, what? I don't know what you're. I'm telling you the same thing. The spirit is repeating, like you're wasting your money. I said no more. Like I said, you've gotten answers, and they've asked you where you should be and where you should go. And I I just went, there's no, don't waste your money. She says, well, how often should I come? And I said, not.
Yeah.
You've gotten all that Spirit's going to gift you for now.
Yeah. And also, I, and this is my personal preference, sometimes I'll be guided otherwise, but I usually tell people, especially if somebody has just passed, I said, a lot of times give it a year before you go see a medium, because you're still in your grief and you may not necessarily be ready to hear what they need to hear or want you to hear. Like, because they're also kind of because they're kind of going through shock or whatever, they're not necessarily, I kind of want to say in a lot of ways, their ear chakras are blocked when it kind of comes to that kind of stuff, because they may not be ready to hear what they're doing. And the people that have crossed over, they're still kind of getting used to their world, the spiritual realm as well. That they're kind of like, what's going on?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. And I mean, I do believe Spirit, when they cross, they got learning to do. Like, I mean, when you were born a babe, I mean, you had to learn how to do things. So do you not? I believe they have to learn, and they're busy. So let
Yeah,
them figure out their life there a little bit.
yeah. And then yeah, so that's just kind of like, and they're like, again, a lot of times they're ready, like they kind of go through a life process or a life review, and kind of going, because especially with the healing stuff, is a lot of times they're like, oh, like I'm actually sorry for this. And a lot of times they'll say, I wouldn't have been in the physical world, but now I can kind of see what's happening on the like spiritual realm, that they're like, oh, I've made those mistakes and not realizing those mistakes. And especially, so I was dealing with a lot of people who served in World War II. And what ended up happening for many is they turned to alcoholism, and that was to numb the pain. And so then a lot of times they were like angry or bitter or lashed out. But it was also kind of a time when stereotypes really played into effect with the men. You didn't talk about emotions. You didn't talk about how you feel. So in their life review process, they were kind of saying, I wish I could have said I loved you more, or but they said in their physical world they weren't at that place yet.
Oh no. And when they cross over, they're in forgiveness. Like
Yeah.
they're no longer angry.
And a misconception is was kind of pertaining to suicide or kind of acts of violence is they're at peace. There is no tortured soul or like they've crossed over and are at peace. Because I know a lot of people, that is one of the things that kind of come through that they worry about, is so and so, like, where are they? And they're happy. Like they've kind of laid down their sword, so to speak.
And that's the truth. Because I mean, I have had clients actually recently. Like I like to, for me, when I do reading, the less I know about you, the happier I am. Like if I know zero about you, that's why I don't like to talk or ask a lot of questions before the session. And I had a mom come in. She never told me anything. And I described this person and I said, do you know, because she wasn't showing me anything. And I said, do you know who this person is? And she says, this is my son. And I went, okay. Because if they don't know who they are, I always say, well, thank you for coming, but please you can move on. And then in the long run, it ended up that her son had committed suicide and she had no idea that he could come through. Like she thought because he had committed suicide that she would never know anything. She didn't even know if she'd see him in the afterlife. And we cleaned up those misconceptions, which
Yeah.
is all she needed, which brought her so much peace. Plus, I did teaching again about how she can connect with him.
Yeah. And yeah, I had something similar to that. Because I've also had, like, I could feel their presence, but they weren't giving me anything, like nothing. And so I would ask my clients, I said, so usually when they don't give me anything and I feel their presence, I'm like, is this person typically shy? Like, because you don't lose your personality when you cross over. And they're like, well, no, they're pretty actually outgoing. And I'm like, oh, okay. So do you think in their physical world would they be skeptical of what I do or kind of what I believe? And they're like, majority of the time it's like yes or probably. So then I said, well, can you let him know just by asking that it's okay for him or her to talk to me? So they do, and majority of the time, then they'll come through. But sometimes there is those reservations, even from the other side, to go, hey, I don't know who you are.
Oh, for sure, I've had that. Like, absolutely, they're standing there and they're not saying a word. They won't, they're just nothing. And they know who it is, but nothing. And that's exactly like I'll say, okay, are they not talkers? Not really. So then what? Ask a question and let's see what he says.
Yeah,
And that sometimes that's all it is a question and answer because he wasn't or she wasn't talkative in the first place
yeah,
until they feel more comfortable, then things will flow or they just get whatever answers they feel they need and off they go.
yeah.
They're
And
not
also,
ever the same.
yeah, and then it kind of goes back to the same too. Like if you have constantly come and come and come, to kind of get that same reading over and over and over again, is they've said everything that you needed to hear, or they said everything, but they just have that presence that they're just with you.
And sometimes people will ask for their certain people, and we just feel the energy. They're acknowledging they're asking, but that's all we get. And spirit is busy on the other side. And maybe you have another family member of some sort that is going through a rough patch, and that's where they are, helping them. And they're just letting you know you're there, but they're busy helping somebody. And they could be what we call a spirit guardian. And I'll talk a little about that. Is that a spirit guardian is somebody that has lived in human form and has crossed over, and what they would like to do is help somebody that is still living. And I'll give an example. As for instance, when my daughter's, like, has always been very intuitive and into this, but once I started doing classes and kind of was teaching her along the way, and we started working with spirit, nothing, like a little incident happened that as a mom freaked me out, but as my daughter did not. She was like, Mom, I'm in control. But anyways, and because I must have put a little bit of fear out there, my mom, who is passed, came in and decided to be my daughter's spirit guardian. And it was like, okay, she was there all through Kaylee's training and learning. And until Mom felt that Kaylee was safe enough and knew enough in what she's doing, she stayed by Kaylee's side. And then when she was comfortable that Kaylee was good and knew what she was doing and could take care of herself, Mom moved on to do something else. So she was like my daughter's spirit guardian for that length of time.
Yep. So some common signs from spirit world is they can intersect with kind of your angelic team, but
Yes.
like flickering of lights, very common. The reason for that a lot of time is because it's kind of that learning how to walk type thing. They find that's kind of one of the more easier things to say, I'm here. Let me know coins very often.
Used to be
There's,
pennies, now it's like people say dimes.
yeah. And actually I had one client that said, Grandpa, I want something bigger than dimes. I want toonies.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
You are able to ask them for what you would like for a sign.
Yeah. Ladybugs are very common for in the spirit world. Like
Hummingbirds,
hummingbirds,
dragonflies,
dragonflies,
butterflies,
butterflies are huge.
hmm
You know,
feathers.
feathers, yeah. And then also like sometimes it's like I find I work with a lot of indigenous people, and a lot of times it's eagles or crows, or like, so it might be connected to their spirit world as well as their spirit animal. That's the thing, like if you think you're not seeing signs, just ask. You can switch it up, right? And like I had one, I'll never forget this, but it was kind of like I'm going, your dad is being like really funny but weird at the same time, because normally I said this is kind of a first for me as far as signs go. And I'm like, I'm kind of seeing like these like sewer beetles, or like that you see in the basement, and they're like bugs. And he just starts laughing and howling. He's like, well, I see those all the time. I'm in the basement, and he knows how much I hate those bugs. But he said he joked a lot because he's like, well, I like to bug you. And like I said that, and that then he knew it was his dad because I said that exact line to him. But he goes, that's his sign. And he goes, I see those ugly things everywhere.
Well, and trust, because one time one time, and I better be careful.
Mhm.
I was doing a reading for a lady, and they showed me of an ant crawling up my leg, and I sort of looked, and there literally was an ant. And this was like, I don't know, November? Like it was, and I was going, okay, what's with this ant crawling in my leg? And she looks at me and she goes, that just happened. And I says, well, it's just happening now.
Well,
You know, so she says, just happened to me, that there was an ant crawling up my leg. So she said, so that's confirmation that whoever I'm talking to was with her. So there, it was happening to me to show her that he's seen the ant crawling on her. And so he was clarifying
yeah,
that he was there at that time.
yeah. And see, that's the other thing too, is like those signs and symbols. Like, so for myself, my grandma appears to me quite often as a blue jay. And the reason for that is she loves the Blue Jays. She loves baseball, and Blue Jays was her favorite team. So that's a lot of the signs. And so there's always one or two Blue Jays out by my bedroom window, and she's like looking in all the time. And she's almost there every morning. But also, you might be thumbing through a book, or like it doesn't always have to be the actual thing as well. Like it could be all of a sudden on your screen holder or screen page of,
In your social media, and you're looking at a
yeah,
picture book, you see a
like,
billboard.
yeah, because birds are very often also a sign of spirit trying to get a hold of you. And like I said, you can change it up as well. Just ask. And then it's kind of going back into that gratitude, is when you see that sign is saying thank you because you acknowledged.
And they know you finally got it.
Yeah,
So
because
then you
it's,
watch, you'll see. And you know what? It's not a matter of literally watching for it. It'll just happen.
yeah,
It's when you just all of a sudden notice it out of the blue.
yeah. And that's when it's like paying attention. It's like, oh, okay, this is going on.
For sure. Yeah.
And so that's been our experiences. Unless, did you have any more to add?
No, just that
Yeah.
spirit is still the same, just in forgiveness. So if they had attitude, they'll still have attitude. If they don't talk, if they stop, if they're not talker, I gotta cancel, clear, and do that again. Delete that. If they were nonverbal, like they uh, weren't big talkers, were not big talkers, well, then, they'll be the same. If they have, if they're a character, like, trust they're the same. Just realize that they won't come back to you as angry because
Yes.
they are no longer angry.
Yeah.
In fact, they might
And
be timid.
yeah. And what Spirit has also showed me too is quite often they'll transform into a time at they're their most happiest.
Oh, that's the truth.
You know, like,
My father, he was the most proudest of his army picture when he was like 16, 15, because he lied about his age, which I'm sure a lot did. Like he was 15, so he's 15, 60 in his army picture. And that's where he felt he was the most handsome by far. And he will show up in military like that, even though he was 70 years old, 72 when he passed away, but he'll show himself as a young army. And boy, it took me a while to figure out who that was when somebody was trying to tell me who this guy was. And I'm going, well, I don't know no young army guy. But he's shown up because my friend likes a military in a white uniform, like the Navy. So he will wear a white uniform when he's dealing with her because he knows that's what she likes.
yeah.
So you got to trust, they might not exactly look like you think they are.
Yeah. Well, and that's just kind of touching on that. Like, so, like I said, I never saw my grandpa in physical form, but he comes to me as like an older gentleman wearing his army uniform. And my dad, he found a picture of him in his army uniform, and he with another person. He's like, "Well, who's grandpa?" And I said, "I don't know," because I said, "I'm going, none of they both don't look like him." And he's like, "Well, that is," and I go, "Well, that's not who I see." You know, so then I'll show him what he sees. So it's just like, it's just kind of like they can come in at different ways for whoever needs to come.
Yeah, so, and you know, spirit is not, spirit is safe. Like, I mean, you know, we deal with spirit all the time. I mean, you can make boundaries for spirit if you are uncomfortable. And that's all, you just have to let them know that this is your boundaries, which I have boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so, and really to get a hold of a good medium who you trust, if you feel you're having issues with spirit, if you feel like that they're causing havoc in your home or whatever, get a hold of one of us or somebody that you trust that's going to be for spirit's greater good.
Yeah.
And do you understand that when I say that? Like they're here to help spirit, not to, okay, I gotta cancel clear that. Stop from somebody that is out there to cause issue. You want to help spirit to cross, to go where they're supposed to go.
Yeah, and everything's in love and light.
Just so I clarify that.
Yeah. And everything's in love and light. Like
Yes.
they may tell you difficult things, but it's to prevent you from going into fear, I guess. Like,
No.
yeah. And that's where the boundaries come in. It's like, because sometimes, because of their orbiting or whatever, so they may get too close to your physical sense. So it may feel like they're trying to take you over your body or over, like, and you just say, no, this is, step back. Because I've actually had to tell spirit to step back. You're too close to me.
And you know, spirit sometimes depending on the person, like, yes, okay, they're flashing the lights and it's work for them to move things or do stuff. And it's just maybe to get your attention. But if you have fear in you, then talk to somebody that you feel comfortable with that works with spirit.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's just even asking. So even if they are coming a little close and you just need that little bit of protection, just say, go to the white light.
Yeah, and it's that simple. Go to the white light. Absolutely. And they're off they go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for our Halloween edition about spirit. I hope this helped clarify some of your concerns and hopefully you have no worries because we're here to help.
Yeah. Yes. And just say hi to your loved ones that have crossed over.
Yeah, talk to them because they listen. And trust when you get that feeling or they pop in your head, that means they're with you.
Yeah.
All right. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Take care, everybody. Thank you for listening to Divine Dialogues, Intuitives Unveiled. If you would like to work with Tracey and Rhonda, our information is posted in the show notes.
Now, our new episodes are going to fall on Tuesdays. So if you're interested in receiving a free meditation on connecting to your guardian angels, click that link below to subscribe to the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center newsletter. Thanks for joining us.
Take care, everybody.